Okay, I am in my kitchen and it's just a zoo in here. That's Amelia and Corinne and Elizabeth and Tony and Mama and baby Emma and Mary, and we are going to do a little short video. Not all of my kids, they just happen to be eating in the same kitchen, but we are going to do a short video on how to make a tincture. So, the first thing that we need to have is an appropriate bottle of some kind that we can put our tincture contents into. So, could be anything. Actually, this has, if I were making it, to sell, maybe I would be a little more conscientious about my bottle, but this is going to work just fine. And for a tincture, we need a menstruum. And a menstruum is, what do you think, Tony? Can you see me? Okay? All of my head and everything? Yeah. Okay, great. A menstruum is like an alcohol or a vinegar or some other medium. Sometimes we can use oil or glycerin, but most of the time when we're tincturing herbs, we're going to use either alcohol or vinegar. Now, with alcohol, we want a grain vodka if we're going to use vodka, or some kind of grain alcohol. Now, I usually will use Everclear, or in the South they have this stuff called Golden Grain. It's about like Everclear, that's 95-something% alcohol. And what we do in those cases, if we're going to use dry herbs, then we mix it half and half with distilled water. If we're going to do fresh herbs that still have high water content, then we use straight Everclear for that. So I have dry herbs today. Vodka is about 40% alcohol usually. And so I'm just going to use vodka for my tinctures. And so this is why I just have a small container. Usually I'll have a full jar of vodka and I'll make a full batch of tincture. I don't need to make a lot of it. This is going to make, what, 4 or 5 ounces of tincture when I'm done. So I won't press quite that much out, so it'll really only make maybe 3 ounces of tincture, but still that'll be enough for now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pause you for a second. When I bring you back, I'll have all the herbs mixed up and I'll show you what I'm going to do next.
Hello?
Alright, I am back. So what I have done is mixed my herbs together. Actually, I haven't stirred them yet. I've just put them all in a bowl. And I have a lot more herbs here than I'm actually going to need to do my tincture. But that's okay because I'm planning to encapsulate some of these. And I actually bought, this is a lot, but I actually bought small portions of everything. Just a couple of ounces. And so when I put it all together, it came out to be quite a lot. There's a lot of dust being kicked up in the air because these are powdered. Now, generally speaking, when I'm making a tincture, I'll get cut herbs. But because I just bought these at a place in Marietta, Georgia that had them already, Life Grocer, I decided, well, all I could get was powdered of some of them. So what I actually did is powder up the ones that weren't powdered so that I could get my parts mixed together just right. And so I am just giving them a little stir. And once they're good and stirred up, and I'm just using a whisk for this, but dry, once they're, if we can survive the dust cloud, once they're good and mixed up,
Dad, the bowl is not in the picture.
Then, once they're good and mixed up, then, alright.
That's your face in the picture.
Whew. Then we can take this, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by adding the vodka first. Now that's normally probably what I would do just to make sure that I get my liquid to solid proportions just right. Now what I want to do is have a little bit of alcohol sitting on top of the herbs when I'm all done. So I'm just going to get out a small scoop of some kind. In this case I'm going to use a tablespoon. And I'm just going to dip in there and scoop it in and dip in and scoop it in. And this tincture, by the way, not that it matters because this is really a video about making tinctures in general, not this specific one. But this particular tincture has herbs in for the thyroid, for the adrenal glands, and for the heart. And that mixture tends to work very, very well together. You can nourish all three of those simultaneously, and so I am. This formula is also specifically formulated for me, and so I might not do the same thing as a generic formula, but I've got a lot of things in here that are going to rebuild those glands, as well as stabilize them, normalize them, give them food they need to produce the things that they need to produce. Okay? So now it looks like I've got about enough, so I'm going to go ahead and stir this, and I'm just using the same spoon. There's not going to be a cross-contamination issue. Now this has come out, the alcohol is not floating on the top of this, but it's come out about peanut butter consistency, or just a little less than peanut butter consistency, and that's going to be just fine. Now what I'm going to do is put the lid on this, and this is going to get stirred every day, or shaken every day, until it's time to press it out. This will make a wonderfully strong tincture. And so what I need to do, because here's the thing, now that I have the herbs in here, what I need to do is make sure that I press this out in exactly 14 days. Because if I go longer, the menstruum will start to draw the value back out of the herbs, back into the menstruum. And so if I go 15, 16 days, by that time I better wait and go to a full 28 days. And that's how I recommend that you do it. Now, this is not going to be ready for 2 weeks, but I have a tincture that is ready now, so when I come back, I'm going to press it out for you to watch.